But I want to talk about the Patrice documentary. You weren't in it. Cumia wasn't in it.
I was in it for I was told 1/8 of a second, and I'm furious because I went in there. Me and him had a great I have all the interesting stories about him, and I'm the only one that's going to be honest about him. Everybody else is turning him into. I sat down and I went, hey, first of all, if he was white, would you be doing this? I said something like that. You know what I mean? But I loved Patrice, but I'm just saying I gave them stories that, me and him, as far as tough crowd, had this great energy. We liked each other and disliked each other the minute we met. Yet I hung out with him. We did shorties watching shorties. I told him stories about going up to Montreal on his Escalade and all the racist crap we were saying to him. I mean, really good stuff. And then it came out. I didn't watch it. And I asked somebody, I think it was Comia. I asked somebody, he said, how long was I in it? Somebody said, about 2 seconds. Which fucking infuriated, because I had an argument with my manager when he wanted me to do it. And I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. I go, they don't even have me on his benefit anymore. I don't think his family even likes me.
Wow.
That's just me speculating.
Yeah.
But my manager's like, no, I think, you'll be sorry you didn't do it. I said, okay, because we were in New York doing something else. And turns out I was right.
Yeah.
But
Cumia was just like, I interviewed him and we talked about it for a while. And he's like, I find it kind of ironic that like Patrice and I had, and like you too, I'm sure like same values of like, don't censor yourself. Don't get into a place where you have the golden handcuffs where you're like doing too well to speak your mind anymore. And you've got, afraid of losing sponsors or management or gigs. And they lived by the same values, yet Cumia and yourself were not included in this documentary. And also you guys were so close and it seemed to have all the, you guys seemed to have all the best stories.
I wasn't
Mosquito.
Thank you, honey.
I'll edit that out.
Brought that with me. I didn't, I wasn't as close as, to Patrice as Norton and Voss and those guys. They were really close. But as far as what would make for a good documentary, because they're doing it because he was such a rebel or, and me and him got that reputation from Tough Crowd. There was a ton of stuff they could have used in there. So, but again, then you have to take into consideration the politics of the people who make this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're PC and they don't even know it. I'm sure I horrid them, they were horrified, but I made a white crack or whatever. But
do you remember who it was that told you? Because you didn't watch the documentary. Do you remember what friend of yours said oh yeah, man, you're barely in it?
I don't. I might have been Comia. I want to say Comia himself, actually. So, but I was very surprised because they kept me there for over an hour.
What do you wish had made it into the documentary that you had shared with them?
Well, the stuff about going up to Montreal on his Escalade, because we would just, if somebody recorded that and put it on the internet, we would have been arrested. It was so brutal and funny. We're both laughing, but I'm saying stuff about black people that 10 times meaner than what he was saying about white people.
Wow.
But that's what we loved about each other. That's why Patrice was. Here's why. I was at the Stand a couple of years ago, and this young black kid comes up to me. He's only 21 from Philly, young comic. I don't know who it was. Okay. And he comes up to me, he goes, man, I was talking to Patrice O'Neal right before he died, and he said, you're straight up gangster when it comes to stand-up, which I'm like,
That's the best compliment.
Of course. That's how I felt about him.
Coming from a black person, too. I'm just
coming from
flattered.
a young brother.
Yeah.
Yes. So I said, yeah. You always hear this, too. I always hear this, or I'll read it in a chat room or whatever in comments. Patrice respected Nick, so that's how you know he's a good comic. I'm like, no, fucking, I respected his shit. So it should be the other way around. You should be saying whatever. But he was just one of a kind. And I hear him on the radio and it makes me so goddamn sad,
I feel like I started stand up it was right after he died. So I didn't see him around at all. I feel like I totally missed out. And everything now is just, listening to old O&A shows. And it seems like the O&A comics and the Tough Crowd comics were basically the same.
That's right.
Do you feel like Tough Crowd was so it seems like it was such an important show, for the time. Absolutely. And also now I feel like we need a Tough Crowd show now, kind of more than ever.
Colin hears that 1,000 times a day, but it wouldn't be the same without Geraldo and without Patrice. You try to recreate that magic, and I don't know that they'd let us get away with the stuff we got away with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Comedy Central, it's showbiz. They actually said to Colin at Comedy Central, this was after the show had been on a while, You guys talk too much about race. Leave that to Dave Chappelle. Imagine saying that to Colin Quinn, who grew up in Brooklyn. He actually has black in-laws.
Wow.
He went to a high school he was, with more black kids than white. Nobody knows, black people better than Colin does. Imagine saying that to Colin Quinn, though. So
yeah, and that's his life. It's like saying, "Oh, sorry, you can't talk about your actual life because of the way we think things should go down." Yes. That's insane. I mean,
and he's brilliant at. I used to watch Colin at the Comedy Cellar when he was doing race stuff, and there'd be tables of black people just falling out of their seats because he was bringing up stuff that only black people know about themselves. It was they couldn't believe, and they'd come up to him after the show and just they were in awe that he knew black people so well. How brilliant he is. So,
have you ever done the House of Laughs in Wilmington, Delaware?
God, no.
I don't know if it's a newer club, but I was just there. I don't mean to bring up I don't know if it sounds like I'm bragging, but I was just there, and I didn't expect it, but it's a very urban room, 95% black, and I don't understand why it is, but to do well in an all black room means a lot. I think my experience has been that they don't really bullshit you. They're not gonna not a lot of people in there knew who I was. There was no extra laughs. There was no they're not going to meet you 40% of the way. They're not even going to meet you. No. They're not even meeting you 10% of the way. They're just come and get us. And that's actually a really good muscle to work as a comic. Cause it's I don't know, you learn to be really present, and the second it's too much crowd work, or the second you're staying on a premise too long. And I was just
saying they have a short attention span.
No, I just feel
I got a better one than that. I can top you. When I first moved to New York, Barry Katz was my manager. I'd been there about a year. I did what's the show called? Evening at the Apollo.
Oh, did you rub the stump and everything?
No, I wouldn't do that. This is before COVID, but I still wouldn't touch it. No. I rubbed my own stump on stage. I was fucking horrendous.
For luck, not for luck. Just
I come out. My first line is, again, I was brand new. I'm in front of an all black audience, and I go, I ad libs. I say, "Oh God, I never felt what I feel like. I feel like Debbie Boone, who was the whitest woman I could think of. Of course, they're just staring at me. And then I go into my first bit, something about ZZ Top shaving their beards. Of course, that falls flat. I didn't even have that much. I didn't have much race stuff. I was brand new. And they're just looking at me. Then I get a couple laughs. And then that's about it. Now I'm getting silence again. Some black woman stands up, old black. I go, oh, Jesus. I can still see her in my nightmare. She stands up and she's like this. Get them off.
Oh, no.
And then they start to join in. I get chased off by the guy with the broom. I was very honored.
Did you not do your full set? Was it early?
No, they you know how when they boo somebody off, the siren goes off and they chase you off?
Right, you just have to be done.
Right. So I exit the stage. Sinbad was the host. He's there in his canary yellow suit. And I'm walking towards him, and he goes, as I go by him, he goes, I don't know what happened, man. I went right by him, down the stairs, went outside and waved a cab. I was in a cab.
Within
a minute and a half of me fucking getting booted off stage.
I'm halfway home. Yeah.
Somebody has that footage somewhere.
God, that's so funny.
And oh my God, it was it was humiliating, and it wasn't. I mean, I forgot about it the next day, but I know somebody has that footage. As soon as I saw that first lady stand up, I'm fine.